The first thing I noticed wasn't a clue at all, but the smell, the sharp metallic tang of ozone that clung to my husband's clothes every time he came home from his late nights at the office. Then came the whispers. Not from him, but from the walls of our own bedroom when he slept. A low, guttural murmur that seemed to vibrate through the floorboards. I'd wake to find the sheets damp with a cold, viscous sweat that smelled of turned earth and rotting flowers, though the window was sealed shut. My skin would prickle whenever he touched me, as if static had gathered beneath his fingertips, leaving a lingering, sticky residue on my arm. One night, I heard scratching from inside the closet. Not the frantic clawing of an animal, but slow, deliberate drags, like something was carving symbols into the wood from within. When I finally gathered the courage to look, I found nothing but a single, warm fingerprint on the inside of the door, glowing with a faint, ember-like heat. That's when the dread settled in my bones. A heavy, suffocating certainty that the man sleeping beside me wasn't just keeping secrets. He was wearing someone else's skin, and whatever was underneath had been whispering to me all along. The story she told was a bedtime tale about a dragon, but not just any dragon. It was the exact, peculiar dragon story only my husband ever whispered to our son. A scent of ozone, like after a storm, filled the living room air, and the warmth drained from the space. That was the moment I knew the woman I trusted to watch my child was raising his. Sarah, with her warm smile, and Mark, dependable in his flannel, built a life of sunlit happiness. Their world was a perfect, golden bubble of first steps and lullabies. It was a sanctuary they never thought needed guarding. My name is Sarah. For 7 years, my life was perfect. A cliché, I know. The house in Austin was all warmth and wood floors. But beneath that scent of lemon polish and fresh coffee, something faint and metallic lingered. A subtle wrongness, like a single off-key note in a familiar song, I learned to ignore. But it was. Mark ran his own contracting business. I'd just gone back to work part-time at a local design firm. Our world was our son, Ben. He was 3, all sticky fingers and dinosaur roars. My younger sister, Chloe, was having a tougher go of it. A single mom to my sweet niece, Lily. She was juggling 2 jobs. When my old babysitter moved away, a quiet desperation settled in. Chloe recommended her neighbor, Emily. Emily proved to be a godsend. Quiet and reliable, she was amazing with Ben. Sarah trusted her completely. She'd just moved to Austin from Ohio, she told Chloe, seeking a fresh start. Her new home was a modest complex not far from my sister's place. The perfect arrangement. I could help my sister by offering her friend work, and in return, I gained some peace of mind. But in the quiet, the air grew heavy, carrying a faint scent of ozone and damp earth from the vents. The first sign was the lasagna. I'd prepared Mark's favorite with a special 3-cheese blend, the aroma filling our home with warmth. He took one bite, and his voice fell flat. "Good, hun." That simple phrase carried a weight that made the air in our kitchen feel suddenly thin. I quipped, "What? Not as good as your mom's?" His laugh was sharp, almost metallic. "No, it's just Emily makes a similar one. Lily raves about it." He claimed it was coincidence. I forced myself to believe him. Then came the overtime. It always happened on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Emily's days. The phone would buzz with that same hollow urgency, and Sarah would feel the air grow heavy around her. Mark would mumble about a big project, his words tasting metallic in the quiet kitchen. But the pattern was too perfect, too regular, like clockwork set to the rhythm of dread. Client meetings kept him working late, but the real change was subtler. His phone, once a family device charging openly, now stayed in his pocket. Its passcode changed from Ben's birthday to something unknown. One afternoon, Chloe was delayed, so Lily spent time with Sarah at her house. As they played, Lily quietly drew a picture, her crayon making soft, deliberate scratches on the paper. She was drawing pictures, crayons scratching across the paper. She held one up. A man with a grotesque smile and a sickly yellow scribble on his head. "Lily, that's Uncle Mark and Sonny." "Sarah." A sudden, visceral dread constricted my chest. Lily's voice was a bright, innocent chime in the gloom. "Sonny," she chirped, utterly oblivious. "Sonny the dragon. He tells us the stories at Emily's house." Sarah's internal monologue was a stark, hollow echo of her daughter's words. In her mind, the name landed with the weight of a tombstone. Sonny the dragon, a metallic scent, like cold iron, seemed to bloom in the air around her. The familiar room suddenly felt alien, its walls pressing in, every muscle in her body locked. A primal understanding, vast and wordless, froze the breath in her lungs. This was not a children's story. Mark had spun a world just for Ben, a silly, secret bedtime creation called Sonny's Fire-Free Forest. He'd sworn it was theirs alone, a special thing shared with no one else. But then, Sarah's voice cut through the quiet, gentle yet sharp, with a question that shouldn't exist. The air in the room grew thick, carrying a faint metallic scent like old pennies. Her words to Lily hung in the stillness. "At Emily's house? Are you sure, sweetie?" Lily's voice was unnervingly bright as she described him. "He comes for dinner sometimes," she said, her small hands gesturing. "He fixes things. He's really strong." The road ahead blurred as my knuckles tightened on the steering wheel, bone white against the leather. That night, I confronted Mark in his dimly lit study, the air thick with the scent of old paper and something metallic. He was waiting for me, his expression unnervingly calm as his hands settled heavily on my shoulders. His gaze locked with mine, and he spoke my name, Sarah. A single word that carried the weight of everything unspoken. 4-year-old Lily's stories were always a jumble of fact and fantasy. Emily likely watched some cartoon, her reality shaped by bright colors and simple morals. But the wobbly cabinet I fixed for Chloe as a favor, that memory held a different weight. The scent of old wood and dust lingered, a tangible detail in a house of whispers and half-remembered things. He dismissed my fears as paranoia, pulling me into an embrace. His conviction was absolute, making me feel guilty for my own doubts. For 7 days, I carried that shame like a damp, clinging weight. The air smelled faintly of ozone and decay, a wrongness I couldn't place. Doing laundry one evening, Sarah reached into Mark's jeans pocket and felt something crisp and foreign. She unfolded the paper, the scent of detergent and damp cloth hanging in the air. Her eyes locked onto the store name printed at the top, the Toy Chest. It was a shop clear across town, a place Mark had no reason to be. The Deluxe Dollhouse arrived last Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. Sarah's voiceover called it a $200 purchase, made on an overtime Tuesday. But the air in the room grew dense, carrying the faint scent of old wood and ozone. A purchase that felt less like a gift and more like a transaction with something waiting. Ben was all about trucks. Lily, however, Lily loved dolls. Sarah's fingers trembled as they traced the truck's cold, metallic door handle. The scent of stale gasoline and damp earth filled her nostrils as she searched the cab. Her breath hitched when her hand brushed against something soft and sticky beneath the seat. I found a parking stub from Emily's apartment complex tucked in his glove box. Then, under the passenger seat, a tube of lipstick in a shade Emily would never wear. A metallic scent of ozone and something faintly floral clung to the air. I didn't confront him. Instead, I became a detective in my own unraveling life. The following Tuesday, my fingers trembled as I dialed Emily's number. A forced cheerfulness masked the worry in my voice as I spoke into the phone. "Hi, Em. Just checking. Is Ben okay? Mark's running late from his meeting. Just wanted to make sure he'd picked him up." The line went dead silent, a heavy void where her response should have been. Then, Emily's voice finally came through, thin and distant, as if filtered through static and distance. Ben's great," she said, the words hanging in the air, empty and wrong. "Mark hasn't arrived yet, but I know he'll be here soon." Sarah's voice echoed in my mind, her observation sharp and unsettling. That wasn't the tone of a babysitter speaking to her employer's wife. It carried something else, a damp metallic weight that clung to the air. That evening, Sarah sat in her car at Emily's apartment complex, parked far from the building's glow. Her voice, tense and careful, was a low murmur into the phone as she spoke to the wife. Then, her breath hitched, her eyes locked onto a familiar shape in the dim light. The air in the car grew heavy, thick with the scent of her own fear and the cold, damp night pressing in from outside. She watched as he emerged, not with his work satchel, but with a bag of groceries. He walked, not toward the main entrance, but around the building's side. The ground floor patio door awaited him, its glass dark and opaque. It slid open before he could knock, revealing Emily standing there with a fixed, unnerving smile. A girl with Mark's eyes and Lily's gaze ran to him, wrapping her small arms around his legs. He lifted her into his arms, pressing a kiss to her hair as he carried her inside. The door sealed shut with finality. In the rearview mirror, Sarah's eyes held a fracture no explosion could create. No scream. The world simply inverted. The babysitter. The overtime. The lasagna wasn't just a meal. It was a ritual, steeped in the scent of iron and old spices. Those dragon stories weren't mere tales. They were warnings passed down in hushed whispers. It wasn't an affair. It was something deeper, something that clung to the walls like damp. It was a family, bound not by love, but by secrets that echoed in the silence. He had a key. He brought groceries, his presence a familiar domestic intrusion. The air held the scent of his aftershave, mixed with the damp chill of the basement. He was at home. Sarah was back in the pristine kitchen, hours later. When Mark walked in with a smile, "Hey, you," he said, his voice casual. "Long day." Sarah's own voice narrated the moment in her head. He leaned in to kiss me, she thought. the air suddenly thick with a metallic scent. Mark remained motionless, his body locked in place as if the very air had solidified around him. Sarah's voice, unnervingly placid, filtered through the screen. "How's your daughter?" A metallic scent, like cold iron, seemed to bloom in the back of his throat. All warmth fled his limbs, replaced by a leaden, paralyzing dread. The silence became a tangible weight, thicker than any scream. Mark's voice cracked, a dry whisper in the oppressive stillness. Sarah's question sliced through the air, sharp and cold. Mark's final word, "Ava," hung in the room like a confession, the name tasting of rust and old secrets. Sarah's voice was a low, controlled tremor. "How old is Ava, Mark?" Mark shifted uncomfortably, the air thick with ozone and unspoken truths. "She's 4. It started in Ohio. Before we were even serious, I swear." His words tumbled out, sticky with desperation. Sarah rose slowly, the damp chill of betrayal settling in the room. "You live here. You have a son here. You sleep in my bed. And you have a 4-year-old daughter across town. You've been lying to me since before our wedding." Mark tries to reach for her. Sarah recoiled as if from venom. Her voice dropped to a frigid whisper, each word carrying the weight of finality. "Get out, now, or I will call the police." Then came the gutting blow, her tone laced with the iron scent of betrayal. "And I will tell them everything, starting with the hidden child and the lies on every document we ever signed." Sarah stands alone in the half-empty house, the air thick with the scent of dust and abandonment. Her fingers trace the edges of Ben's crayon drawing of their family, now just a ghost of what was. The divorce has become a legal war zone, lawyers dissecting their lives, forensic accountants hunting for hidden assets. He's attempting to claim his secret family as a prior obligation, using them as leverage to reduce support for Ben. My sister Chloe is utterly shattered, feeling like the unwitting conduit between my existence and his hidden life. Then I saw the photo. Emily, Mark, and Ava, smiling in a sun-dappled park, a secret family captured on a hidden social media account. The air in the room grew thick and still, as if reality itself had paused to witness this betrayal. A cold, metallic taste of dread filled my mouth as I stared at their perfect, hidden happiness. He pushes Ava on the swing, wearing the same goofy smile he once gave Ben. The true horror isn't just the lie he's living, it's the chilling reality of his meticulously crafted double life. Both halves were fully, terrifyingly real. He wasn't merely unfaithful. He was partitioning his heart, his time, his very role as a father. The screen plunges into absolute blackness. Sarah's voice returns, a hushed whisper that seems to come from the darkness itself. "Sarah, the police, they didn't need a timeline, but you asked for one. So here it is, year 1. He meets Emily in Ohio. The air grew heavy with the scent of ozone and damp earth. Year 2. He proposes to me. Year 3. The year he married me was also the year his secret daughter was born. By year 4, he had moved her to my city, a shadow slowly encroaching on my reality. Year 5 saw her integrated into my home as our babysitter, a stranger now holding my son. In year 6, I found him reading our son the same bedtime stories he read to her, his voice a shared, chilling lullaby. Sarah's gaze locks onto the camera, her weariness palpable but her focus razor sharp. Her voice carries a hollow, measured tone as she speaks directly to you. "I'm not asking how to spot deception. We all know those tells," she continues, the air feeling thick with implication. "My real question is, how many times did I witness it? The monotone voice, the inconsistent details, the phone always in hand, and I still chose the comforting lie over the brutal truth, because the truth was too terrible to hold. The most dangerous lie isn't the one someone tells you, it's the one you tell yourself to keep your perfect world intact. How long would you have let it go on?" The screen fades to absolute blackness. A subscribe and comment animation materializes from the void. It appears just as the final, resonant note of the haunting score echoes and decays into the emptiness. The last, lingering tone hangs in the air, leaving only the echo of the story behind.